lose, I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back bed, I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you can never own. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right and see life do what you want. So fight and die for the things you know you love. Do what you think is right.
First Minister, Party Leader and Treasurer here. I'm speaking to you about the Nicola situation. I've been told by Nicola that under no terms, no uncertain terms whatsoever, have I to even consider thinking about suspending her. And if I do, I'm going to find myself in a whole world of hurt. So she's told me that as long as I keep my mouth shut, the police have got nothing on me and I'm brand new. So I don't see any reason to suspend Nicola. I think she's doing a great job and she'll still continue to represent the good people off the south side of Glasgow. So no suspension for Nicola. She'll continue on. I'll continue on being leader and I'll bring you independence. I'll do that for you because you know what? I'm great. First Minister, Party Leader and Treasurer here. I had to make this statement, guys. I'm kind of cacking my pants here. I know Nicola told me that I've just to keep my mouth shut and I'm bomb-proof because I don't know anything. And to be honest, I don't know anything because, to be fair, they never ever told me anything. I have no idea why, but they just said, "Oh, don't bother telling her. Don't tell him, so just leave him be." So she's told me just to get on with it, and yeah, I'm not sure. And I didn't sign up for this because I've just realised every First Minister of the SNP that's not a First Minister's been arrested. I just don't know what's going on. I'm kind of... I don't know. I'm kind of frightened. I'm way too pretty to go to jail. I just can't go to jail. It wouldn't work well for me. But you know what? I'm great. After me, wee Nippy's the best thing that ever happened to Scotland, so I won't hear anything said bad about her. Definitely not. Yeah, I sent her flowers, but you do when people get bereaved, don't you? And this is like a bereavement almost.
Have you spoken to Nicola since Sunday?
Egypt.
Isn't the reason that you're not suspending her because you're weak?
Oh, hold on a minute, doll. Who you calling weak? Maybe it's time you just get back in the kitchen and made the dinner for the man, Just get off your high horse.
He wasn't arrested, he was suspended by the SNP. Would he be suspended under you?
Wind your neck in, Stevie boy. Stop asking me about things that didn't happen on my watch. I'm great.
Well. Good evening, John. Good evening, world.
Good evening, Ben. Good evening, world.
I must say, John, to me, your audio is very echoey. I don't know how it is through the feed, but I'm just letting you know. In my ears, it's very echoey.
Is it any better now?
No. Adam, all of that lot are saying you sound fine, so maybe I'm getting a different audio feed to them.
Well, you are, but
Okay, that's fine.
I can't understand. Well, I don't know. I don't know why it would be any different.
They're saying no echo here, so there you go. I just thought I would inform you on that one. So other than that, how are you, John?
Yes, I'm good, Ben. How are you?
I'm well. I'm doing the Andrew Tate power pose right now. Do you know why I'm doing that?
No, I've absolutely no idea, mate. None whatsoever.
Because we're competing with his emergency meeting that he's doing live on Rumble as we speak. He's been advertising it all day. It's trending on Twitter.
Well, he's not doing a very good job because I've not seen it.
It's trending with 11.76k tweets right now.
Well, what kind of emergency meeting?
Well, it's Andrew Tate talking shite. That's what it is. That's what he calls his podcast now. Emergency meeting. Is basically it. Oh bloody hell. So anyway, yeah, I've just received a message of congratulations from our friend David Noland at stopcommonpass.org. Congratulating us on the interview / special live show we will be hosting right here at youtube.com/Chasing Dissent Official on Tuesday, June 27th at what time, John?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. That's right. And that is to work around. Oh, fucking hell. Just lost the can of Red Bull. That is to work around our guest. Who is our guest, John?
I think our guest is a former Southampton and England football player
By the name of Matt Letitia. So, Matt Letitia will be on the show on the 27th of June at 9 a.m. for an uncensored, unfettered conversation about life, about what he thinks of the world, and we'll see where it goes. So,
Indeed.
I'm looking forward to that one. We've got a busy schedule actually coming up, haven't we? We've got a very busy schedule.
That
tomorrow night.
Yeah, that week, the last week in June, there's something live every day.
There is indeed, and I've just booked a show for the 13th of July, which I'll tell you about. It's another one-on-one job.
Mm-hmm. Told me
for
about
Thursday,
it,
July the 13th. I think so, but we are booking well into July now, so it's looking good. The docket is looking good. Yes, you'll be able to watch it back. Of course, you'll be able to watch it back. Would we leave you in the dark?
In the
Would
lurch,
we not
so
let
to
you?
speak.
Yeah, no, of course you'll be able to watch it back. So I'm hoping that is going to be a good one, and a lot of people well attended. Hopefully, it'll be a good, interesting conversation, regardless. But like I say, we are now booking into and past mid-July, and the reason I booked out the second week of July for that one-on-one is because I left the first one open in case John wanted to revisit the rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole is on I think it is on the 4th of July.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think.
But
I'll check with Ted. No, Ed.
Ed. So yeah, lots to come. Busy schedule right through to right now, mid-July, and still booking. So I've got one-on-ones coming, and like I say, tomorrow night we will be live once again with Brent Lee, but with his podcast partner from some dare call it conspiracy, Neil Sanders as well. So and it will be all four of us.
Yep.
It'll be a four-way, John.
And speaking of being up early, we'll be up early on Monday.
Yes, we will.
Yep.
Nice and early.
Back on Rise with Sonia Poulton.
Indeed, indeedy do da day. So, like I said, lots to do going forwards. John, what's on the agenda for tonight?
We've got loads on the agenda tonight, mate. We've got everything from swimming in Scotland to Canadian fires to St. George, Johnny Depp, jeans, summer dresses. Get loads of stuff.
Oh, wow. So with that, loads of stuff, John, you know.
I'd like to welcome you all to this episode 227 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
There you go. There you go.
There we go. Summer dresses, says Shalini in the chat.
Indeed,
And
summer dresses.
I'm not supposed to be answering the chat right now. We will come to the chat at the end, I promise, and you will definitely get your message read out and answered if you are otherwise inclined and kind enough to send a super chat. So let's just get on with the show. Shall we start with summer dresses as it's been there?
No.
No?
We're going to leave
Okay.
We'll leave that to the end when things get a bit lighter up. Let's start with Let's start with the big boy himself, or should I say the little boy? Let's start with Emmanuel.
So little. He's so little.
So, what happened there?
Excuse me.
That sounded a bit weird. Right, am I echoey?
Not on the show, I did check, but you are in my ears.
That's weird. I don't know what's going on.
It is weird.
Right, so Emmanuel Macron, is he going to tear apart the EU and possibly NATO at the same time? Because he's already been saying things. He's been to China, remember? And when he was out there, he made certain...
Schmoozing G.
Yeah, he did say certain things while he was out there. And when he came back, he said he didn't want, France to be a vassal state. He didn't want Europe to be a vassal state of the US. Well,
yep,
kind of late, but he seems to be twigging. And he's maybe picking up on the big nationalist movement that there is in France, because people here think that we're nationalist, but boy, oh boy, wait till you go to France and get out of Paris,
Yeah.
Because the French have no truck with Europe whatsoever. None.
No, and I mean, you drive through the villages and you see the Frexit signs. You see them.
Yeah.
They're real and they're there. The rural people, like you say, have they don't care for Europe. They don't want to be a part of Europe. And in fact, the nationalists have almost won the election twice over now. Mm-hmm. And you've got to take heed at some point. You've got to take heed of that, because especially when you do things like he's done with the pension reforms and the things that have made people really angry with him, he's now got to take steps to make those people happy with him again. And I think that is part and parcel of what he is doing here. But tell us what he is doing.
Well, he asked the South African president, Ramaphosa, if he could come to the upcoming summit that's going to be held in South Africa, the BRICS summit, because he's expressing an interest in joining BRICS.
Yes, he is. And this goes back to...
Yeah, so just to keep people up to speed, BRICS is the what would you call it? The kind of counter motion to the EU for developing countries.
Trade bloc.
Yeah, for developing countries primarily.
Brazil, Russia, China, India,
South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original BRICS, but we're now getting more and more countries wanting to become part of it, and now France, which is one of the first developed Western country that's asking about joining BRICS. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but I think this might be a bit of a problem for the EU.
Well, I think it... let me Well, no. What I think it might be is a problem for France with the EU.
Yeah.
Because if people don't know, one of the big draws of Brexit, one of the main reasons that people wanted to leave the European Union is because a country within the European Union cannot make its own trading deals and cannot join trading blocs without the express, not just consent, but delegation, delivery. All of the trade
Approval.
negotiations are done by the EU on your behalf. So if he is turning around and he's saying, I would like to come to the summit so that I can perhaps join the BRICS.
Is he German?
He's perhaps, you don't know whether or not he's a German in disguise. We don't know. But the point is, if he would like to go to this BRICS summit and he is personally, on behalf of France, expressing interest in joining the trading bloc, the EU are not going to allow that. So there's only two options here. The first one is the EU fold and say, go and do what you want, France. And then that makes the idea of people like the British and the Italians that want to leave, it makes their reasons kind of void. And then the other idea is one of the major key players within the EU is going to have to Frexit in order to do what it wants to do. So we can either see a Frexit occurring or a collapse. And I'm leaning more towards the collapse.
And what's France already done? He's already agreed to buy LNG from China in yuan.
Mm-hmm.
So, not dollars. Not
and once
dollars.
again, that is Emmanuel Macron unilaterally making that decision without the oversight and without the purview of the European Union. And they are probably pissed.
Oh,
shall we say.
Ursula will be going through the tenors like nobody's business at this moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ursula von der Leyen over there. She will be. Yeah.
She'll be ripping them up and going, get me another one. No.
Andrew in the chat makes the point. He says, funny, he's only recently back from China. He's hedging French vested interest. You know as well as I do that when they were in China and they were behind closed doors, Xi Jinping was absolutely stroking his ego, was schmoozing up to him, was going, you should join the BRICS, you come on, join the BRICS.
You're funny little Frenchman. You want to be...
I like your Frenchman.
You want to be with us. You be with us. Je ne sais quoi.
I mean, when he was on the plane home, he was making those statements like the European Union should not become a vassal state of the United States. I know that the Chinese brainwash their citizens and they do it very well. They do it very methodically and they do it through control, power and fear. Somehow they got to Emmanuel, didn't they? And he was only there for a week.
Well, I think, as you said, he's not daft, right? And he's feeling the mood of the country and he's got to get back in their good books. And he's thinking, well, you know what? There's an opportunity to shove, to stiff Joe Biden at the same time because I really don't think he likes Joe Biden. I'll be honest.
I don't think anybody likes Joe Biden. Come on.
So I think there's an I think the French are a bit like they're a bit like cheese eating sharks. They smell the cheese in the water and they're going for the kill.
I would like the cheese and I would like the snails. Give me all of the snails and the frog's legs. Give us all of it. We like it in trade deal. We give you knockoff goods. We give you back knockoff Eiffel Tower. We give it back.
Send the Eiffel Tower to the French as a gift. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Here, you have a gift. You have gift? Huh? You want gift?
You take our knockoff Paris. We give you a whole city.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But going back to the political side of things within France, like you've just said, and he needs to get on the side of the nationalists, and if he can do that, if he can start making very nationalistic type speeches, you know, appealing to France for the French, and France making their own decisions and doing their own thing, whilst also still sort of pandering to the liberals and the neoliberals, he's sorted. He'll walk the next election. He'll probably walk the election after that. If there are no term limits, I don't know.
I don't think they do in France.
He will continue to be the man.
Yeah. I just say I think it's all very calculated. I think he's working towards doing the best he can for himself first, and France itself takes a back seat, you know. But I think he's probably on the right route, because I don't think the European Union at this point is doing anyone any favours. I mean, Germany itself, and as part of my research yesterday, because I did another episode of the Net Zero podcast with Latimer yesterday, and I found out that Germany's still buying Russian gas. So Germany, although the Nord Stream was out with the sanctions, because it was out with the sanctions, there's another pipeline that's still running. And
where does that pipeline run through?
Well, it starts in Russia, it ends in Germany, and it goes through Ukraine. and apparently the deal for it to pass gas, as they say, pass gas through Ukraine, comes up for renewal next year. And Germany's saying, if it's not renewed, we're going to have to shut down some industry because we don't have the energy to keep it running. Now, 30% of the gross domestic product of the EU comes from Germany.
German industry.
Yeah. 30%.
German industry.
30% of the EU products come from Germany, right? So if Germany shuts down industry, EU's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the
You're
French
absolutely right.
The French will fall for it, because the French are desperate to get out of the EU. They don't like the EU. French hate the EU. They hate the Germans, right? They hate the EU. They hate the Belgians. They hate the Dutch. The French don't like anyone. The only people the French like, and really it's only the northern French that are still reminded of it, you know, the D-Day landings and all that, are Brittany and Normandy love the English. But the French just hate everyone in Europe. I don't even know how France ended up in Europe, because France, they just don't like people. They're like Scottish people, except healthier, thinner, and have cheaper wine and cheese.
Oh yeah, the wine is still, despite the cost of living crisis, I was only over there a few weeks ago, the wine is still very affordable. It's still very, very affordable.
Yeah.
You are getting pissed for cheap over there if you're a drinker.
I mean, I tell you, mate, it was hard going though, because it was, you know, I think I would probably have lost a liver if I'd kept going.
every episode, what's the wine of the week? The wine of the week is this lovely box from Intermarché of
the litre of Sauvignon Blanc, and it was a litre bottle for like I think it came in at what? I think it was like less than €2. It was crazy.
It was about €1.78, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was about €1.78.
It was as good as what you'll pay here for a 10 quid bottle of wine, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Auchan, even the city centre type Auchans, where obviously it's going to be a bit more expensive, your wine was, you know, on average about €3 a bottle.
Yeah.
It was, and that was only a few weeks ago. Like I say, if you are a drinker, despite this cost of living crisis, if you get on to the if you get onto the European mainland, you're getting pissed.
Yeah,
and you're getting pissed for cheap. I mean, it gets even cheaper over in bloody Germany. It gets even cheaper over there. Especially for beer.
The beer gets much, much cheaper. I mean, beer that, you know, like, you can buy a good quality beer in Germany for 15 pence a tin. You know, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculously cheap. I mean, I think I think I broke the rear suspension in the van when we went to Sweden.
The amount of little beer you bloody loaded up.
Because remember, I used to. Well, actually, Andrew, if you'd actually been with us earlier, you'd have known that I did a podcast from France, because this started as the international podcast between two men, one in a van and one in a shed.
Yep.
And I used to disappear. Remember, I used to disappear, and you would say, "Where are you going now?" Because I'm going back to the garage to find more beer.
Yep. So, and then it culminated to the point where I broke into France essentially against all COVID rules. I got into France. I don't know how this keeps happening, but things keep falling off. It's really weird.
Oh, it's poltergeists.
I broke into France, violating many rules and restrictions. John came up to Disneyland where I was.
Yeah.
We spent the entire day breaking all of the rules and restrictions. And then, just to rub salt in the wound, we did a live show from the the RV lot at Disneyland, explaining everything we had just done.
No, I didn't have to be rescued on this one.
No,
that was the trip back to England when I had to get rescued.
Yeah,
right.
that was. I had to rescue him via phone to a random bloody tow man at 3:00 in the morning.
Who extorted us. Anyway.
Well, anyway. Yeah, Emmanuel Macron is playing with fire. He is playing with fire. And
so he's either I mean, we've long said that the EU is on the cusp of breaking up. NATO is definitely on the cusp of breaking up. I mean, they're still fighting. You know, Hungary's not going to let Sweden in because Sweden recognises the Kurds. The Kurds are an existential enemy to Hungary, and they're just not going to say, Hungary's quite straightforward for Hungary. We can't support a new member of NATO that recognises some group that we are fighting. Right? Because what's NATO about? It's a military alliance. So if Hungary turns around and goes, they've attacked us, what's Sweden going to do? They're going to go, oh no, sorry, we don't join in, you know. Well, no, if you don't want to join in, don't join NATO. So Hungary's got, they've got the right point. Don't join in because you're already supporting our enemy. Therefore, if you support our enemy, you cannot be part of our group. Makes sense to me, but maybe I'm just being simplistic.
It makes sense to me as well. It's ridiculous. Andrew says France are shagged if Total Oil lose their Middle East drilling rights. Yeah. But at the end of the day, France are going to shag the EU, shall we say? If they continue down the road that they're going down.
But why do you think France are? You know, they're still deep in Africa in some places, and they're also making inroads with China because France doesn't have an awful lot of natural resource. That's the problem. You know, and they don't have a huge industry because I don't understand how France actually survives, because France seems to, you know, once you're out with the cities, rural France seems to exist on people supplying grass cutting equipment.
Yep.
And making firewood.
Oh God! When you were living in that house, when you were house sitting for someone, and there was how many lawnmowers?
There was 3 lawnmowers, a chainsaw, a log splitter. There was another thing. What was the other thing? Oh, there was so many. I mean, there was just so many devices for cutting the grass, and it used to. Remember, it used to take me 3 days to cut the grass.
Yeah.
And I mean 3 days. 3 days.
He does.
Sean and I used to cut the grass in tandem. I would drive the lawnmower without the pickup thing on, cutting the grass, and Sean would drive beside me and slightly to one side, picking it all up with the lawnmower that actually cut the grass and picked it up. The whole thing was ridiculous.
But it's not just the EU that's kind of falling apart, right? It's the United States as well. And I want to read you this tweet thread here from Tim Pool, right? And I'll just read the thread verbatim. You know who Tim Pool is? He's a political commentator here on YouTube, one of the biggest, I would say. And he tweets, 5 years ago, I was worried that rising tribalism and political street fights could be a precursor to civil war. We are now at the president has arrested his political rival phase.
Banana
Libs and leftists,
Republic. Yep, carry on,
Libs
sorry.
and leftists will make any and every argument as to why it's justified, but of course that doesn't matter. Every dictator gives a reason why they arrest their rivals. See Putin, for instance.
Well,
Hold
on.
Zelensky.
And Zelensky, yeah. They're both done it.
We are past the weaponization of government against political faction point. That happened a long time ago. We are at the top now. It began with tribalism, for which I was told would never escalate because the security state would not allow it. Of course, the bifurcation of our society would and did reach the highest levels of government, as I had warned. But it wasn't an original idea. I had just read security assessments, history, and famously statements from universities. And he quotes The Hill here. Princeton professor, we are in a cold civil war. The United States faces a 60% chance of civil war over the next 10 to 15 years. Other expert predictions ranged from 5% to 95%. The sobering consensus was 35%, and that was 5 months before Charlottesville. And that was a long time ago. The left can justify Trump's arrest, but that means nothing at the macro level. Those ideologically opposed to the left will not accept those arguments or justifications. The left will say the right is fascist. The right will say the left is fascist. Whichever wins will be correct.
Yeah, and you know that Biden's had impeachment papers served against him.
Has that actually happened now? Articles of impeachment.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Well, I mean,
he's been accused. He's been accused of taking a $5 million bribe from Burisma, the Ukrainian oil company, along with Hunter, who's also taken the same bribe, and he's been accused of some other political shenanigans by the Republican congressman that's running the committee.
I was going to say, from what I understand, Chuck Grassley announced yesterday that there are audio recordings of these supposed bribes. And now I don't know whether or not these audio recordings actually do exist. I can only tell you what is being reported, and that's what he himself, Senator Chuck Grassley, is saying.
And
so,
yeah, and I must point out, it was while he was vice president and not the president.
Yeah.
But even so, he's still on a bit of a soapy bubble.
Yeah, and Andrew says this was all conspiracism not so long ago.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to Chuck Grassley's Twitter account just to fact check myself and make sure that I'm right here, because I don't want to make statements that aren't true. Where are we? I'm just going through it. Anyway, someone else can fact check me because I don't want to halt the show. But Donald Trump was indicted, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was indicted on charges. And so we really are at that point, are we? The banana republic point. Because Donald Trump is insisting he's innocent and that all of the documents he held, he personally declassified. And then the other side is saying, absolutely not, that's not true. He didn't have the power to do that. Now, I would read the...
Well, the president does have the power to do that. So I don't think that's quite... I think that's quite... The other thing is...
the only person with the power to do that.
But the other thing is, Trump's been set up, and he's been stupid for allowing himself to be set up, because he contacted them and said, look, what do you want me to do with these documents? Do you want me to put them in secure storage or whatever? And they said, no, it's fine. Just leave them where they are, right?
They did ask him, I believe, to put an extra lock on the door at one point.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all they've asked, right?
He complied immediately.
Yeah, but that's the problem. So what they've done is they've stitched him up because, you know, he's done that, and then they've raided the place, you know? And they've gone, oh, look, all these classified documents not in secure storage. Well, hold on a minute. You told us not to bother. So,
well,
you know,
I keep seeing the argument made on Twitter, and I kind of want to push back against this argument because all these people keep going, no, but Biden's not responsible for this. The grand jury are responsible for this, right? The grand jury that was selected by the Department of Justice. Who runs the Department of Justice?
the White House.
It's Joe Biden's Department of Justice, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, right, let's be honest. America is basically now a banana republic.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been since the 2020 election.
Yeah.
Because things happened, and I'm not going to opine on whether something was right or wrong, but what I am saying is that things happened during that process that have never happened before, and had no
Universal
reason.
mail-in.
No, not even that. Stopping counting in the middle of the night. Taking 3 or 4 days to count ballots. These things had never happened before. I mean, it's like, and these things have started happening here as well, because if you remember the last election we had, people were taking like 2 or 3 days to come back with results, when normally we have everything in by 9 o'clock in the morning. So what's going on? Why in an increasing technological society does it take longer and longer to count things when we used to do it by hand overnight, and now it takes longer with automation?
It's a very good question, and one that I have no answer for. I can't tell you
unless there is chicanery afoot.
But we can't say whether or not there was chicanery afoot, and we're not going to opine as to whether or not. We're just going to tell you the facts, and those are the facts.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway, let's finally move on from France and Macron. So where are we going next?
Oh, well, just finishing off, the South African president didn't give him an answer directly. He said, I will have to converse with my colleagues.
In other words, I need to ask Xi.
I need to ask Xi.
Look,
just like when Hamza's got to ask Nikki.
Yes, I look, Emmanuel Macron, I just don't know at the moment, right? What I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to get on the phone to Xi Jinping, and I'm just going to ask him. I'm just going to say, Xi, is Emmanuel allowed to come over? Is he? Let's have him over. Let's have him over for a drink.
Right. Let's briefly go to Scotland. Okay. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they went to go swimming at the weekend with their daughter or something like that. And they turned up at the swimming pool, and the swimming pool was open, but not open. Right?
Was it a book only by any chance?
Yeah.
This keeps happening to us when we try to take our kids swimming.
Yeah. So he turns up and he's going, can we go two-full swimming? And the woman goes, not today. And he goes, well, when did you want me to come? And she goes, you've got to book in advance. And he's like, what? Why? I've come to swim on a Saturday when the pool's open. Why have we got to book in advance? So just let's put this in perspective, people. And, you know, I'm no doctor. I'm no virologist, right? But you're swimming in a bath of chlorine. Okay? Yes. Nothing is living in there apart from you.
There's far more chlorine. There's far more than chlorine in that water, mate.
But nothing's living in it for long, right? Okay.
No.
So, what's the problem? Why do you need to book? Why do you need to book in to go swimming? And he thought, oh, okay, so I'll go up to East Kilbride, which is a bigger town, much bigger town, almost a city. And he goes to the pool there, and he goes. I mean, this is like 9:30 or something, and he walks in and he goes, oh, the pool doesn't open until 10:30. What? On the weekend, right? And then of course it was then delivered. But you've got to book in advance. What is
Jesus.
going on? What
Same
is
thing's
going
happening at
on?
Same thing's happening at my local swimming pool in the last school holidays. I took both the children and my wife up there. We went up as a family. You know, it was pretty much empty as well. It's not like it was full.
Yeah,
And,
because nobody books.
No. So we said for the swimming, please. And they went, did you book? And we went, what? And they went, did you book? What for? The place is empty. Can we just go and take the kids swimming? No, not today. Sorry. All of the bookings are full. And I'm looking in there going, full? Full? Have you seen in there? There's about 4 people.
And what did he say to that?
Sorry, we can't do it today. All of the bookings are full. We just went, sod ya.
It was
And
right.
just went elsewhere.
What is it the councils are trying? I mean, councils have always been a bit obstructive, right? And I don't quite understand.
yeah.
I don't quite understand this because, I mean, it starts at council level, you know. As soon as someone gets to that point, they suddenly think, I have the power to tell you what to do. They don't ever consider, hold on, I work for you because I'm a public servant. Oh, no, I have the power to tell you what to do. Council workers, and then it becomes nurses and doctors and things, and doctors' receptionists. They all think that they have power over you when they all work for you. So everything in this country is completely backwards.
Yeah.
And somebody needs to sort this out. It needs to be sorted out.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it makes absolutely no sense, especially when it seems like these places are still scared to allow their facilities to go to capacity. I don't know why. Is it just to piss you off? Is it just a control mechanism? Or is it that there is genuine fear within the council themselves that if they allow these places to become free-for-alls once again, because this is mostly council-owned pools, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
Right? But if they allow these places to become free-for-alls once again, then if an outbreak were to occur within their facility, they're to blame.
Yeah, but, hold on a minute. What does it matter if they're to blame? They were to blame the last time. Nobody's taking any action against them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no.
Yeah, right. So anyway, that's the situation when it comes to swimming in Scotland. You can't.
But it's the same here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's the same
Absolutely
here.
crazy. So what about George Soros giving the reins to his son?
Well, he's about to croak it anyway, isn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah, but I'm
He
not
is
worried.
essentially-
I'm not worried about George Soros. I'm worried about his son.
Apparently, he's worse, from what
Yeah,
I
well,
understand.
Have you seen what he said?
No, tell me.
He wants to drive the right wing off the internet, off social media. There will be no right wingers on social media. He's going to drive them off it with his billions of pounds.
And the thing is, he's probably got the money to do that.
But how? How's he going to do that? How are you going to do that?
Well, it'll be a lot of bribery, won't it? It'll be a lot of bribery to these tech companies that are monopolies. It'll be a lot of donations to foundations that they run. I think the only holdout will obviously be Twitter. Now, I know people don't trust Elon Musk. I don't trust Elon Musk, for God's sake. But let's face it, he is active on his platform all of the time. He's saying things, he's calling the mainstream media liars and propagandists. He's saying that the real news comes from citizen journalists through places like his platform. He's saying all of the right things. But I still, I just don't trust. I just don't trust that there is a savior. I don't trust that there is a hero. And I don't think I ever will. Even if he proves himself to be like a savior or a hero of free speech, I'll still never believe it, because we shouldn't have somebody that we essentially put on a pedestal or worship or thank or praise because someone else is not responsible and someone else is not, in control of your ability to speak, or in control or responsible for what you say, what you think, what you feel. That's you. And the only person that can really express themselves truly is you. A lot of the time, if you go outside of what is the accepted norm, and the accepted norm appears to be things that the average man or woman would have thought psychotic just 8 years ago. But if you go outside the accepted norms now, you are persona non grata, you are evil. And this is sort of the route that he will go down. He will continue to go down the route of, let's donate to these foundations, let's give these people money, let's do that, and let's continue to push this message that our message is the only message.
And our message is the only message. And if you want to keep hearing it, get to YouTube. Goodbye, Twitter.
Yeah. Goodbye, Twitter. Exactly right. So, but still, it's terrifying. It's terrifying that these tech companies, which, let's face it, all of them, when they first popped up and they started offering their services to all of us free of charge, they marketed themselves to us as the marketplace of ideas, the town squares, you know, free speech. I mean, Twitter literally had the home of free speech in its bio. That's what it used to call itself. And I mean, it's kind of going back that way now, possibly.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not what it became. It's like they sucked all of the people in, got them addicted to their product, made billions and billions of dollars off the back of it. And then when they were in a position to do so, when they have power, when they have control of the means of communication, they got rid of people. They got rid of people that they saw as inconvenient. I mean, they all got their tax breaks and freedom from prosecution under, I believe it's Section 230 in the United States, because they marketed themselves as a platform and not a publisher. Because in order to do that, you don't curate what is on your platform.
But they all do.
But they all do. So I don't get how they continue to...
They're all publishers. YouTube's a publisher.
Yes.
Twitter's a publisher.
It's a publisher.
I mean, it's probably less of a publisher than it used to be, but still a publisher. Facebook is definitely a publisher. I mean, you can't say anything on Facebook without Mark Zuckerberg, you know, okaying it. Instagram's a publisher.
Yes,
they're all publishers. So they're not entitled to these protections, and they've obviously bought their way into this.
Yeah, and you know, when the Republicans had all of the levers of government, when they had the presidency, the House, and the Senate, they had the opportunity, because they kept complaining about it. Mm-hmm. They kept complaining about it, but they had the opportunity to do something, and they never did. No. And they never did. So you wonder, how much money do these candidates get from these companies?
Oh, the whole thing's corrupt. The whole thing is. I mean, we're back to Banana Republic. The corporations effectively do what they want because they've got enough money to lobby and to bribe the people in the positions of lawmaking that they can get away with it, and they effectively become untouchable. I mean, look at Microsoft when they tried to break up Microsoft. They didn't even get that done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So Andrew says, speaking of communication, did you see Medvedev warning the West about undersea cables? Thanks, Nord Stream. Medvedev says something insane that threatens somebody every 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. Medvedev is like Putin's, you know, what would you call it? You know, he's junkyard dog, isn't he? Right.
I think Medvedev is a few sandwiches short of a picnic.
Yeah, and you certainly. Yeah. I mean, people. And this is something to bear in mind, you know, don't wish the demise of Putin too quickly, because you really don't want Medvedev in charge, right?
Way worse. He's a nutter.
Yeah, he is a nutter. But he does, he winds people up quite a lot. But I think a lot of it is deliberate. It's like Lavrov as well. He knows exactly what he's doing when he's winding them up, you know. He's quite funny.
Yeah.
But, you know, undersea cables run the internet. I mean, everybody thinks it's all done through satellite. No, it's not. It's all done through cable.
The only way you're getting internet if they start destroying those is with Starlink, baby.
Yeah, and even then, they don't have the capacity to feed everyone.
Well, exactly. But so the thing is, like I said, Medvedev is insane.
Yeah.
He's absolutely mad. He threatens everybody every 2 minutes. He's threatened London that they'll nuke them. He's threatened Lindsey Graham that he'll be, crashing in a plane.
Yeah.
He threatens everybody. So what I would say is let's not pay much heed to what Medvedev says, because he's just a nutter who gets out of bed in the morning.
He's a junkyard dog.
Probably drinks a litre of vodka when he gets out of bed, and then goes, "What am I going to say that's inflammatory today? Oh, Lindsey Graham, you are pig. You are pig, Lindsey." That's basically it.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically. Let's move on anyway. Let's move
Right,
on
okay.
to our next topic.
So, did you watch the pre-roll? Did you see Hamza?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I was particularly proud of the bit where the guy asks a question and Hamza doesn't actually answer him at all. Right?
Just goes, wind your neck in, mate.
No. When the one before that, the guy asks, Hamza looks at him, the guy asks the question and he turns away to the other woman, right? And I inserted Egypt and it just fitted perfectly.
Yeah, Egypt.
Anyway, so I touched on it in that about the flowers.
Flowers.
Yes. So the question is, why? Why on this God's earth has a political party decided that it's appropriate to send flowers to someone who's been arrested and questioned and financial impropriety of their party that runs back 4 or 5 years? Why is it appropriate to send them flowers just because they got released without charge?
Pending further investigation.
But exactly like their husband, Peter Murrell, stroke beard, and and Colin Beattie, the guy that no one can remember his name because he was the actual treasurer. Right. So the question is, they didn't send them flowers, so why is it appropriate to send Nicola flower? This is madness. I've never seen a political party behave like this in my life.
Remember this flashcard? I'll read it out to you. That Nicholas gave the NCA. It says Pete did it. That's why.
Yeah, but no, I mean the whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is ridiculous. And do you know what I want to know? Just to rub salt in the wound.
Oh yeah, they'll be paid for by the public purse.
Did they use party funds in order to pay for the flowers?
I'll bet they did. In fact,
please tell me they did.
I'll bet they did. I bet they did. Did I read that tweet out from that guy the other day who said, I always stand behind Nicola. Yeah, I'll always stand behind Nicola regardless. And here's a donation to the party just to help you keep going. They're still donating to this bunch of thieving trolls. This is ridiculous. Scotland must be up there with Russia and Ukraine as one of the most corrupt countries in Europe.
And it appears hashtag the SNP is hashtag not a cult, right? It's hashtag not a cult.
Yeah, not a cult. No, it's not a cult. It's a cult, all right. It's a cult.
Now, Barnaby West has been out today. Barnaby West has been out today, canvassing the area, just looking around to see if he could find some people to have a conversation with about his infatuation with the stopping of lettuce.
Not a cult. Oh,
Not a cult.
Not a cult.
Not a cult. But for purposes of it's not me going and doing it. It's middle class toff, Barnaby West. It's Barnaby West is going to go and do it. And then when people ask why I haven't got a real job, I'll just say, well, Mummy's topping up the public purse. From the public purse. Don't worry, Mummy's topping up the purse. She's. Did you know that lettuce produces 3 times more the emissions than the production of bacon?
Well,
Did you know that?
it's interesting. Did you know that corn-based ethanol, right, that they use to mix with petrol
Yes.
to make it more green,
Okay.
is 25% worse for the planet than just drilling and refining regular gasoline?
We need to just stop corn-based ethanol also.
The whole thing's nuts. Why? I
This
mean,
is an
it's
absolute
nuts.
travesty.
Absolutely nuts.
It's an absolute travesty.
Have you seen? And this is some of Latimer stuff. But have you seen the big, massive battery in Europe? The world's biggest battery bank, right, for storing power.
Right.
Okay,
Right?
and it costs something like 72 billion or something. It would run Europe for 2.5 seconds. Right? It could run all of Europe's electricity needs for 2.5 seconds. Okay? Now, just to put that in perspective, and someone said, yeah, but that's the equivalent of multiple nuclear bombs. But just to put it in perspective, it's not. Right? Because that battery bank holds the same amount of energy as a non-articulated petrol tanker. You know, the wee short ones?
Yeah. So my question is this. My
Yeah.
question is this, though. What fossil fuel is used to generate the energy to charge that battery bank?
Well, that's a damn good question, because what happened? What happened with our much vaunted solar farm?
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you have solar panels on your roof today here in the United Kingdom, they're freaking useless.
Well, they're not
They're
right. They're not useless, right? So what happened? And let's approach this fairly, right, and scientifically. Okay.
Okay.
So solar panels have been around for a long, long time. I think
Long time.
1896 or something like that. There was a solar panel on the roof in New York, and solar panels were around about, I think, about 18% efficient at that point. Okay. So 18% efficiency for a solar panel in 1896. I think they not long invented photographs, and there's a solar panel photographed on a roof producing electricity. Okay?
Okay.
Let's fast forward. Okay? So we're now 130 years down the line. And solar panels now give us about 32 to 33% efficiency.
Woo!
Okay? Now,
Yeah, baby.
if you know anything about electricity, there are 2 things that electricity doesn't do well with. One is extreme cold, unless you're using superconducting materials. But extreme cold, in which case that's why your electric vehicle's range plummets in the winter. And it plummets, right?
It does.
And extreme heat, which isn't very good for batteries.
No.
Or solar panels, because their efficiency goes way down, right? So it doesn't matter how much sun you throw at the solar panel, because it's become so inefficient, it's producing a lot less power. And to augment that power source, what did the National Grid ask? What did they ask for, Ben?
You tell me, John.
They asked for our last coal-fired power station to fire up. Turn the coal on, boys. We need more power.
Look, I'm going to say it as it is.
Now,
I'm
and the demand didn't help, because all those tough people that could actually afford the air conditioners have got them all, sparked up.
Yeah. So let me just say this as it is, and this might upset the environmentalists for sure. Right. Renewables are shite. We are not going to get to 100% energy via renewables by 2030. It's not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. It can't happen. And let's just go to the cars, because they want a full electric car network by 2030. We don't even have the infrastructure in the country. We would need to expand the national grid by about 4 times just to charge them. It's not going to happen.
No,
Right?
it's not.
The sooner people get this through their heads, the better, because if they just plow on and they continue to go down this road and they say, right, okay, it's January the 1st, 2030, switch off everything that's fossil fueled. Welcome to the dark ages, baby, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you'll
We're
be
gonna
back.
go back to the dark ages.
You'll be back in You'll be back in caves, knocking people over the head with stone hammers. That's what you'll be.
Yeah.
Right. Angles say council leader stands down after stating that all Tories should be shot. Right now.
Yes, he did say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did say that. But really, you know what? This is where reality and social media become like different dimensions. Never mind. I mean, in fact, almost different universes, because they become so black and white. Right? You can't say anything on social media. I mean, look, for instance, think about my position on Twitter when I made a joke, right, and got permanently banned for it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not allowed to say that. But that's the way we speak. And people say things like that. They don't mean it literally, right?
No.
And if you think he did mean it literally, there's something wrong with you, not him.
Yeah.
And if you're saying, well, he shouldn't have said it and he should get fired and he should stand down or whatever, you're part of the problem. Because you're applying standards that have never been applied in the past and don't deserve to be applied right now, because what you're doing is stripping us of our culture and of the way that we interact with each other. We're becoming...
Especially over in Scotland.
Yeah, we're becoming automatons. We really are. People are frightened to say anything. People are frightened to say anything. They're frightened to call anything out in case someone pulls them up. And that's when you get people walking past people that are injured and just ignoring them because they're frightened to do anything.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, what people have to understand, people who are watching this either live or watching it back, or listening on the podcast even, is I am, I've got a Scottish side of my family, and I'm well aware of the fact that the C word, the word that lots of people here in England find to be the most offensive word going, is a term of endearment.
Indeed.
In Scotland.
Indeed. It's a
term of endearment. Yeah,
it is.
It's a term of endearment. This is how. I don't mean to be stereotypical, but this is how the Scots talk. I still very much talk to some of the Scottish parts of my family. They live around here, some of them, and it's like, "Oi, Ben, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you? It is like you say, it is flooding out now into the real world, and this is where the idea of cancellation comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It came from social media.
It did.
When people are saying things that could be quite nebulous in reality, like Nick Merckx, for example, who I spoke about on Friday night, or Monday night, or whatever it was, the man who simply said "leave kids alone," and he's lost a very lucrative sponsorship deal. He's been punished for simply saying that, and that's because we've allowed, and I say we because we as a society have allowed the extremists, and that's what they are, extremists who have the loudest voice on social media, to control us outside of that sphere. And at some point, the pushback needs to happen, because if it doesn't, I'll go back to what Tim Paul was saying. They're going to win. You are going to be the fascist for asking for freedom.
Yeah. And speaking of the fascists asking for freedom, the government's pushed back on the comments from the MSM about them monitoring, journalism and colluding with social media companies to censor stuff. So they've pushed back, and the UK government have denied monitoring journals' supports.
Except for their already freedom of information requests that have been released that confirm that they did.
And I've said that they support free speech.
Yeah, bollocks.
Not in Scotland, you don't.
I'm sorry, that department that were tasked with doing that, I think we need to FOIA them about me.
Yeah.
I really do. I guarantee you they hold information, and
it's just ridiculous. It really is. I mean, everybody knows exactly what governments were doing.
But when I was turning up to those places, as you know, and releasing those videos onto Twitter, they were averaging 250,000 to 500,000 views video.
I know. You tell us every bloody show.
But
Stop living in the past.
But you don't get that kind of traction when you're in the middle of something and not end up monitored.
Yeah, I know.
These people are liars. They are deceivers.
They are.
Well, yeah. Move on. Just move on.
Canada's on fire. But
yes,
it's not really.
Not really.
Because it's not really on fire, because at the moment there are some wildfires in Canada, and because of the winds, it's driving smoke from these wildfires over New York City and places like that.
Yeah.
So it's very obvious, but Canada's actually at an all-time low for the amount of fires it normally has. And strangely enough, the IPCC, right, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, have said heat has actually very little to do with forest fires. Most of them are started by human activity. And we don't mean human activity by releasing CO2 into the atmosphere. We mean human activity by either being careless and allowing forest fires to start, or deliberately starting forest fires. Most of the forest fires are caused by human activity.
And that could be it, ranging anything from a lit cigarette to the amount of times now climate activists end up in trouble because they're the ones starting the damn fires. That has happened on multiple occasions.
That happened in California, and that happened in Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
The climate activists themselves, it's almost like they're going, they're sitting there in Australia, they're going, come on, climate, start the fire. Oh, you know what?
I'll give them a hand.
Climate, if you're not going to do it, I'll go and do it for you, mate.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was gonna happen. I've just made it happen earlier.
I just helped it along a bit, yeah. And then I went and took a long walk off a shore pier to make sure that I didn't get burned by the fire. Yes.
Right. Johnny Depp.
What is going on with Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp has donated all of Amber Heard's $1 million that she had to give him to charity.
Yeah, he said he would.
Yeah, he did. So he's done what he said he would do. So
what happened was in December last year, Johnny Depp went back to the court and made an agreement and said, she owes me X amount of millions of dollars. Offset the $2 million that you say I owe her. She still owes me a load of millions. She doesn't have it. Okay, let's just call it 1 million that I'll donate to charity, and we'll call it quits. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously received the money now, and he's donated it to charity. So, I mean, when you look at it, and you look at the remember Amber's donation to charity, pledge.
Yeah.
Pledge. That's right.
Never
Pledge.
paid it. Never paid it.
Never paid it, but he's actually done it.
Yeah. So he's either a soft touch or he's a nice guy.
I I think he's a nice guy. I think she took advantage of him. Doesn't he live near our Adam now? He's moved here, isn't he? He lives near our Adam
believe
in the
so.
mansion. Yeah. So he's escaped the US because he's sick of the bollocks, and she's run off to live in Spain because she's sick of the bollocks.
Well, no, I think she's
It's
hiding.
yeah, of course she's hiding,
Right.
but
Have you anything else to
don't
say
know.
on that? Right, okay. Here we go.
Stepped on a bee.
Here we go. Massachusetts Middle School asked the pupils to wear rainbow clothing
Why?
for Pride Month.
Okay. So why?
So, no, wait. I'm not finished. Just hold your horses there, Bald Eagle.
Okay.
So the kids all turned up wearing red, white, and blue. They all came dressed as the American flag, basically.
America. But you know what? Yeah, fantastic.
I think it's
But
good.
you know what? Why didn't the Massachusetts Middle School would have been better off turning around and saying, you know, as it's quote unquote Pride Month, feel free to come in rainbow colours, or don't.
Well,
Up
you know
to you.
what? Actually, the Massachusetts Middle School would have been better not saying anything about Pride Month, because really, what's it got to do with primary school kids?
Well, you know what? I absolutely agree with you, but this is the real world, and the real world says that they're going to say something. So if you want to cover your own arse, then just say invite them to do so if they wish.
Yeah. Well,
It's,
anyway,
it's as simple as that.
So they tried to push the narrative down their throats, and they got it pushed back on them, and I think that's good. Right.
Well, I think that's good as well. I think that's good as well, because nobody should be forced to do anything. Or nobody should be forced to celebrate anything. And that's not a slight against, you know, people of the alphabet community. There's not a slight against them. It's just nobody should be forced to celebrate something or not celebrate something. It should be up to each individual as to what they do or do not celebrate.
Unless you're Justin Welby.
No, yeah, well.
Well, he
screw him.
thinks it should be Saint George Floyd.
What?
Yeah. He thinks George Floyd should be canonized, basically. That guy, Justin Welby, is a dangerous, dangerous man. There's a want about him that's just not right.
Let me say this off the bat. George Floyd, you know, should not have died. Should not have died. The jury's out on...
When you take that amount of drugs, you've got to be careful.
Yeah, but you can't say that.
Why?
Well, you can't say that's what killed him anyway.
I didn't say that's what killed him. What I said was, when you take that amount of drugs, you've got to be careful. Because
but let's be realistic
what
here.
did drugs do? What did drugs that people use for recreation do on your body?
Your heart rate.
They slow your heart rate, maybe, but they definitely depress your respiratory system. They always do. Yeah,
absolutely they do.
So you've got to be careful. That's all I've got to say.
But okay, but still, okay. So I think it's very hard to say what I want to say, but
you know what? There's no point in saying anything about it. Let's talk
he was
about.
Not a good man.
Forget that, right? Let's talk about Welby. What the hell is Welby doing? This guy was an American criminal, right? Who died getting arrested. Whether that's right or not is immaterial. He had a charge sheet longer than your arm. He was not a good guy. He had been done for armed robbery. He'd been done for putting a loaded pistol on a pregnant woman's belly and threatening to shoot her. Right? So why does a man of the cloth think he should be canonized? That's the question I've got to ask, because it's for clicks and giggles. That's what it's for.
Yeah, it's for nothing but attention. I want attention. I'm going to say whatever I need to say to get attention.
That's it. That's exactly it.
I used to have. I'm Justin Welby, and I used to have hair once. That's basically it. My God, the speed at which that man has balded. It's something else. It really is.
Yeah, he's just he's a horrible human being. Anyway, speaking of that, Indiana mom gets busted riding her bicycle across town with her twin 2-month-old babies in a milk crate attached to it. Now, my first thought is she's only doing her bit for climate change. She's riding her bike. She didn't take the car.
But that milk crate was likely made of plastic, John.
Yeah, but this is right. So the question is, if you keep going down this net zero route, this is what people are going to have to do to travel about.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen them in India with like a whole family on a scooter. So that's going to start happening here. Because if you can maybe afford a scooter and you can get your whole family on it, why would you, why would you bother with a car?
Well, exactly. And you know, at the end of the day, the woman was using her initiative in order to transport herself and her children about. It's
probably not right.
I can neither condone or condemn the actions.
No, but I can condemn the actions. It's not safe to put two 2-month-old babies in a milk crate.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just not safe.
But
I can understand maybe she had to be somewhere in a hurry to get something, but you don't do that. And I suppose, to be fair, she took them with her rather than leave them unattended, but
exactly.
you still, I mean, there's a photograph of them in the milk crate. They're only wearing nappies, right?
She didn't even put them in baby grows.
They're in nothing but nappies, right?
Yep.
And there's no padding in the milk crate.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They're just sitting in the milk crate. And remember, they're only 2 months old. They can't even hold their heads up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There you go.
At least line the thing with a lovely soft
No. Just a regular plastic milk crate.
Come on, woman. Come on.
It's not right.
No.
It's not right. Right,
You've lost me. You've lost me, Indiana mum. You've lost me.
Speaking, we mentioned summer dresses earlier.
Yes, we did.
And this is another example of the nanny state gone mad.
Okay.
So apparently police are warning that you could find yourself in trouble in these hot days if you're driving your vehicle wearing a summer dress or baggy bootcut jeans.
What?
Yeah, this is in the Daily Mail from the police saying, don't wear these things when you're driving because you need to be able to have easy access to the pedals at all times. And all that loose material can sometimes get bunched up and get a life. That is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Don't wear jeans while driving. Get out of here.
I'm done.
Yeah. Oh no. There's one thing left and it's better.
No, I can't. I can't with this. This is ridiculous.
Oh no, there's one thing left and this is the best of all.
Go for it.
So some professor at the University of Manchester, right, has come up, and hold on, let me just check something. He's come up with a great idea to solve all this climate change bollocks in one go.
Go on in.
Right, I just want to check my figures because let me just check my figures. Sorry, I'm just scrolling down. Oh yeah, here we are. So yeah, right, and we don't have to do. It's not far. We don't have to do it far. Okay. So what he wants to do, right, is he wants to shift our orbit 3 million miles further away from the sun. So he's worked out this will then negate any warming that we've had. And it means we can carry on using fossil fuels. So my first thought when I saw this was, oh my God, no one show this to Bill Gates. Because he'll think it's a good idea.
I have no words.
It's unclass. This is the University of Manchester. This is Rishi Sunak's Britain, where all the great ideals come here first, don't they? Yeah, let's just bump our orbit out by 3 million miles.
And Mr. University of Manchester professor,
Oh,
how do you suggest we do this?
Albert Zijkstra, a professor of astrophysics at the University of Manchester, suggests shifting Earth further back from the sun by about 3 million miles will solve global warming. He suggests using an asteroid, much like NASA's DART missile, to alter our trajectory. He wants to slingshot an asteroid around the Earth to pull us slightly further away.
Right, so I would say that I'd call up Bruce Willis, but he's not doing too well these days. He's probably not going to be with us very soon because he's got a...
I was going to say...
So with Bruce Willis in the condition that he's in, we're fucked.
I was going to say... I double checked the date. It is June the 12th.
Do you know what?
I've been sitting on this for 2 days. I've done well. I've been sitting on this for 2 days and not cracked a light about it.
These people are being paid with public money to come up with this shite.
Yes, yes, they are. Let's just pull ourselves back from the sun a little bit.
Do you know what? Do you know what's scaring me? Because I think this one might do you in. I can see something trending on Twitter right now. Do you want to know what it is?
What?
It's R.I.P. John.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
It's trending on Twitter.
Oh, it's not trending anymore here. Who was this, John?
I don't know. Should I find out?
If you want, yeah.
John Hollins.
Nothing to me.
No, he's nothing to us. Yeah, John Hollins. He appears to be some footballer, perhaps. Footballer.
All right, and speaking of RIP, I think I could safely say that my shirt's gone. It's just that it's never turned up.
Is it not cut?
Nope. No shirt for Johnny.
Right, if you're watching Julie and Dreadeye, send me the link to where you got it from, and I'll get him another one. Fuck's sake.
Right, well, I think that brings us to the close of the evening, I think.
I think you could be right. But I have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I will say this. I will say one thing before that we go. Remember, June the 27th at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. will be the special live stream with Southampton football legend
and
Matt Le Tissier.
Eight times capped for England.
Yep. And he will be here live on Chasing Dissent, talking with myself and John about life, the world, anything and everything. Tomorrow night, we will be live with Brent Lee and Neil Sanders of Some Dare Call It Conspiracy podcast. It's not a one-on-one. It's a four-way, baby. Whoa. It's going to be... I'm looking forward to that, actually. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. What else? Next Thursday, I am here with a one-on-one. Finally, with Bert from... We Got a Problem. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he doesn't reschedule again. But please don't reschedule again. We've got so much booked out over the next month and a half. You should definitely stick with us. Share, get people to come along, evangelize, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Now, after sweating half my body weight to entertain you fine folks tonight, John, do your thing.
Thank you, one and all, for attending this episode 227 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben. It's been great. For you.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.